Have you ever been stuck in a loop where you overthink everything? You want to make progress, but instead of taking action, you find yourself replaying the same thoughts over and over again. If this sounds familiar, don't worry, you're not alone. Overthinking is something we all deal with at some point. In today's video, we'll dive deep into how to stop overthinking and finally take action. Overthinking is one of the biggest obstacles to progress. It causes us to second-guess ourselves, creates unnecessary stress, and, most importantly, it prevents us from taking the steps we need to reach our goals. We get trapped in our minds, analyzing every little detail until we're paralyzed with indecision. Learning how to manage overthinking is crucial. Not only will it help you make better decisions, but it will also allow you to take consistent action toward your goals. So if you want to stop feeling stuck and start moving forward, stay tuned, because in this video, I'm going to give you practical steps to overcome overthinking and take control of your life. 1. Recognize the patterns of overthinking. The first step to stopping overthinking is recognizing when you're doing it. Overthinking often happens without us realizing it. We think we're being thorough or careful, but in reality, we're just going in circles. Common signs of overthinking include replaying the same scenarios in your head, fixating on mistakes, or worrying about future outcomes that haven't happened. I remember when I was about to start a big project, and I spent weeks planning every detail. I thought I was being meticulous, but the truth was, I was afraid to take the first step. Overthinking was just a way of delaying the action I knew I needed to take. The moment I recognized I was stuck in a loop, I made the conscious decision to stop. Start by paying attention to your thoughts. When you catch yourself overanalyzing something or getting caught up in hypothetical what-ifs, take a step back and say, I'm overthinking. Simply recognizing that you're overthinking is a huge first step. 2. Limit information overload. One of the main drivers of overthinking is having too much information. In today's world, we have access to endless amounts of data, advice, and opinions. While information is helpful, too much of it can overwhelm you, making decision-making harder. Think about the last time you were trying to make a simple decision, like choosing a product online. You probably researched dozens of reviews, looked up multiple alternatives, and even after hours of research, you still weren't sure which option was best. That's information overload. To combat this, set limits. For example, when making a decision, give yourself a time limit or limit the number of sources you consult. If you're looking for an answer, pick the first few credible sources and make a decision based on that. Trust yourself to make the right call with the information you have. 3. Shift your focus to the present moment. Overthinking often happens because we're too focused on the future. We worry about things that haven't even happened yet. We imagine worst-case scenarios and stress about outcomes we can't control. This creates a mental block that prevents us from taking action. One of the most effective ways to stop overthinking is to ground yourself in the present moment. You can't control the future, but you can take control of what's happening right now. Whenever you catch yourself worrying about the future, try this simple mindfulness exercise. Take a few deep breaths, focus on your surroundings, and ask yourself, what can I do right now? I find that when I'm feeling overwhelmed, focusing on small, present actions helps calm my mind. I'll ask myself, what's the very next thing I need to do? It could be as simple as sending an email or writing down a plan. Once I start with small actions, momentum builds and overthinking fades. 4. Break the perfectionism trap. A lot of overthinking comes from a fear of not being perfect. We think, if it's not perfect, I won't do it. Perfectionism leads to paralysis because nothing is ever perfect, and we get stuck waiting for the right time or the perfect opportunity. Think about the last time you put off starting something because you were waiting for the perfect moment. The truth is, the perfect moment rarely comes. What's important is starting, even if it's not perfect. To break out of the perfectionism trap, embrace the idea of progress over perfection. Done is better than perfect. Taking imperfect action is better than not taking action at all. Once you get started, you'll be surprised how much you can improve along the way. 5. Set time limits for decisions. Overthinking thrives on open-ended decisions. If you give yourself unlimited time to think something through, you'll likely spend too much time going over the details. That's why setting time limits is crucial. When I was deciding on a business investment, I found myself overanalyzing the pros and cons for weeks. It wasn't until I set a hard deadline that I finally made a decision. Having a set time frame forced me to move forward instead of getting caught up in what-ifs. The next time you face a decision, give yourself a strict deadline. For smaller decisions, this could be 10-15 minutes. For bigger decisions, it might be 24 hours or a week. Stick to the deadline and make your decision, knowing that action is better than endless analysis. Chapter 6. Take small, immediate actions. Overthinking usually occurs when we focus on the big picture and feel overwhelmed. The solution? Take small, immediate actions. When you're stuck in your head, the quickest way to break free is to physically do something, no matter how small it is. For instance, if you're overthinking starting a new business, don't think about launching the entire business tomorrow. Focus on one small task, like registering a domain name or writing down your business idea. Small steps build momentum. Here's an exercise for you. When you catch yourself overthinking, immediately identify one small action you can take toward your goal. It could be as simple as sending an email, making a phone call, or writing down your next step. Taking action creates a sense of accomplishment and moves you forward. 7. Reframe negative thoughts. Overthinking often goes hand in hand with negative thinking. You start imagining all the things that could go wrong, which makes it harder to take action. These negative thoughts create a mental block. One powerful way to combat this is by reframing your thoughts. Instead of focusing on what could go wrong, ask yourself, what if everything goes right? Reframe the situation into a positive perspective. For example, instead of thinking, what if I fail? Reframe it to, what if this is a learning opportunity, even if it's not perfect? I used to worry about public speaking, always overthinking every detail. But once I started reframing my fear as an opportunity to improve, I stopped worrying so much about what could go wrong and focused on what I could learn from the experience. The shift in mindset allowed me to take action, even when I felt nervous. 8. Build a habit of taking action. Overthinking becomes a habit over time. But the good news is that taking action can also become a habit. The more you practice making decisions and acting on them, the easier it becomes to stop overthinking. Start small. Commit to taking one action every day, no matter how small. It could be related to your work, personal life, or a passion project. Over time, this daily practice will train your brain to prioritize action over endless thought. Starting today, I challenge you to take one small action toward your goals. Comment below and let me know what action you're committing to take today. Let's keep each other accountable. Overthinking can feel like a never-ending cycle, but by recognizing the patterns, limiting information overload, staying present, embracing imperfection, setting time limits, and taking small actions, you can break free and start moving forward. Remember, progress is more important than perfection, and action is the key to overcoming overthinking. The sooner you start acting, the sooner you'll see results. So stop waiting for the perfect moment and start taking action today. If you found this video helpful, consider becoming a sponsor of the channel. Your support will help me create more content that inspires and motivates you to take action in your life. You can find the link to become a sponsor in the video description below. I truly appreciate all of your support. So see you soon.